Anyway, we got a lot more to go. We're going to be here all night long. Let's do this last video. Let's do 2 more videos, and then we're getting Radio Graffiti. It's 11:30. I'm going to do this one that was donated by 6 Beers by someone and said, this is a 3-part documentary. 6 Beers should cover it, okay? And they're, I guess they're X videos. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. And I mean the old Twitter. So let's take a look at the first one here. Oh, God. What the hell is this? Put the PC shot on. What is this?
Zombie a kike back there. Are you anti-Semitic? Don't you remember the Holocaust?
Coach, let me tell you something. For many people, Jews can be a bit of a disgruntling topic. They're never talked about except as sinless people that we are not allowed to criticize in Western societies, and to meet someone who is openly anti-Semitic like me can be quite overwhelming. Now, some of it is counterculture, as a bit of an in-joke, but a lot of it is real, and part of that is the Holocaust. Now, it wouldn't be such a big issue if it wasn't a major underpinning justification for so much of what I, and many others, detest in modern society. Of course, being such a substantial pillar, the average normie is more than happy to attack it, although many people express skepticism at mine and many others' claims, such as the Einsatzgruppen's main purpose being anti-partisan warfare. While I won't try to get into the specifics of each, or argue about the validity of evidence, there are major holes in the official story that should cast doubt in the mind of even the firmest believer. To this end, there are 7 questions that should be asked. 1. Why would the Nazis even kill Jews? If they had them in concentration labor camps, why kill them instead of putting them to work doing useful labor? In the middle of a total war, labor is a precious resource, and yet the Nazis are supposed to have been stupid or hateful enough to kill millions of potential laborers.
Now, let's calm down here, all right? They did kill a lot of Jews because they weren't willing to work. Okay? And those that weren't willing to work were incinerated, and their ashes were used to fertilize the crops at the concentration camps. So give me a break.
While being smart enough to manage the whole operation and keep it secret. This doesn't seem to add up. 2. If they did kill millions in an organized genocide, why use such inefficient methods? For a people so renowned for their efficiency, the Germans...
I just answered that question, that they used the ashes to fertilize the crops at the concentration camps. This is documented.
Germans do not seem to possess this quality when it comes to the Holocaust. Gas chambers, gas cars, ovens, even electrical racks or masturbation machines, according to some eyewitnesses. All of these are extremely inefficient and wasteful. Some are downright goofy. With millions of rounds of ammunition being produced monthly, and weapons certainly not being scarce, why would the Nazis not just use a cheap bullet to kill millions?
Because they needed to incinerate these people into ashes because, A, you don't have to make a massive body pile, which is very labor-intensive, and, not too many people are willing to do that type of work. And, B, you fertilize the crops with their ashes, dude. Believe it or not, I know that many of you people are going to find this hard to believe, but ashes of living matter, whether it's human beings, whether it's trees, plants, whatever, that's what helps fertilize the earth in a method that's beyond anything that can be substituted for chemical or any kind of landscape, lawn-induced type of shit. I'm not joking around. That's why whenever there's a mass fire in some forest and a lot of acreage gets burnt down to the ground, within 2 to 3 years, not only has the damn thing grown back, but it grows back even bushier and more vegetative. So that's why ashes are a big deal, and that's why, believe it or not, when people used to have their own gardens prior to us being a very, supermarket-driven society where we assume that there's going to be food on the shelves of supermarkets, people actually used to have their own gardens. And guess what they use to fertilize their gardens? Ashes. And it's that element that's what's created a nutritious organic food. That's why folks that, if you ask folks that are old, that are like 75, 80, 90, ask them if they had a garden. And I'm sure 8 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. And that right there is because they ate nutritious food that had the nutrients of the ashes of burnt matter. Believe it or not. All right, here, I think I'm supposed to play all these, so let's play the end of this one.
They would have the necessary materials in less than a month, rather than the countless resources needed to produce deadly gases, or burn people alive, or electrocute them.
Well, I just answered that question. Let's get to the next one. Hold on, let's get to the next one.
Would the Nazis really have chosen such inefficient methods of extermination during a war decided by resources, knowing that by choosing these more gruesome and inefficient methods, they were condemning millions of their own countrymen to death, knowing that choosing to do so would likely lead to the defeat of their country and the subjugation of their people?
Well, there's a big factor that you're leaving out there, sir, is that it wasn't just Jews that were incinerated and put into concentration camps. It was also Germans. As a matter of fact, more Germans were killed by Hitler than Jews themselves. And I mean, who did Hitler, which Germans did he put? The communists, which I don't know if I disagree with that, but he would put cripples, anybody who was a retard or, handicapped, put them into the incinerator. Anybody who he deemed was queer, homosexual, anybody who was mentally, all that shit was thrown into the incinerator. So wait, that sounds based. All right, fuck off. You guys are sick.
3. Why are so-called eyewitness accounts given such weight and believed to be so trustworthy? In modern criminal courts, we do not lend such power to eyewitnesses, especially if there is a conflict of interests and they are also victims. And yet, when it comes to the Holocaust, all we seem to need as evidence are the claims of the self-reported victims without evidence or substantiation. This is a serious lapse in historical and public integrity, and yet it is never talked about. What is worse is some of the outright lies and fabrications of these eyewitnesses that have proven to be such as the soap and lampshades myth that was proven.
Now, I think the lampshade was a bunch of shit. All right. I think that making soap was a bunch of shit. But there is evidence beyond evidence that they did use the ashes of whoever was in the incinerator. It wasn't just exclusively Jews. It could have been, the tards, the gays, or the dissidents, those that the state or Hitler deemed, enemies of the state, so could have been anybody,
Proven to be false and quietly dropped. If it is possible for these eyewitnesses to lie about them, is it not possible for them to lie about other events? Furthermore, why is that?
Now, I'll agree with this here. Yes, if they're willing to lie about this, would they lie about that? I do agree. I do agree with that. I mean, you see, you got a little bit of a point there.
There's no weight given to the effects of trauma and group psychology, such as would be considered when examining the testimonies of eyewitnesses in criminal cases. Eyewitness testimonies are rarely fully accurate, and oftentimes will wildly differ from each other, exaggerating some facts, downplaying or outright omitting others, and sometimes even creating details entirely. Yet, for all of this, there is no consideration, and we take claims of Nazi masturbation machines at face value. 4. Why are the only purported death camps investigated by Soviets? Of all the camps investigated, it was only the ones specifically investigated by the Soviets in zones which the Allies were forbidden to enter.
That's a little bit of a lie. I mean, there's plenty of footage of Eisenhower going into concentration camps himself, and there's footage of him looking at piled up bodies and shit. What are you talking about? Come on, man.
That were claimed to be death camps. By choosing to believe this claim,
I mean, there's fucking footage of Eisenhower and shit going into this shit, dude.
We are in effect putting faith in Soviet claims of German atrocities. Given that the Soviets blamed many of their own against the Germans, fabricated other claims, and instigated countless more atrocities than could be ever attributed to the Nazis, are their claims really so valid?
All right, let's take a look at the other one here, because I think this person...
5. Why is it that it is only Jewish Holocaust victims that are talked about? Even according to the official narratives, Jews were only a fraction of the total number of victims claimed by the Holocaust.
Now, this is what I was just alluding to, okay? Now, they're possibly in that 6 million number, was 6, conveniently enough, believe it or not. There's something numerically esoteric about that, but 6 million. I mean, are those all Jewish folks? All right, because Hitler was notorious of killing mostly his own people. That's why he was able to organize the Germans into a prime directive of a war machine. I mean, that's really what he did. And he had them begging for it. He had them rooting for it. And the only way you do that is eliminate anybody who is talking against it, which is what he did. I mean, there's plenty of evidence that suggests that people got vanned in the middle of the night. Young children got their dads and brothers taken away from them because of so-called allegations of, people that hated him or something, that called into the Nazi tip line and shit. So I do agree with this, that 6 million number, I'm not too sure if they're all Jews, okay? I do believe that it's a lot of Jews in there. I'm not trying to negate that. But Hitler killed a lot of people, and a lot of his own German people. Like I said, he eliminated the cripples. He eliminated the retards. He eliminated the gays eventually, once fucking Himmler gave them the ultimatum, and Hitler finally said, okay, we have to kill the gay contingent of the Nazis, which was the brown shirts, by the way. Anyway, let's go ahead and play the rest of this. Sorry, don't mean to go off on a soliloquy here.
And yet they are focused on almost exclusively. Where are the tears shed for the millions of Poles killed, the hundreds of thousands of Russians and other Slavs? Where are the tears and Holocaust museums?
Well, with all due respect, I'm not taking Hitler's side here, but I don't like communists, but most of them were fucking communists, all right? I'm sorry if I'm not shedding a tear that a communist got defeated in their own fucking stupid revolutionary game. I'm sorry.
The novels and commemorations for these victims. If the Holocaust is truly such a horrifying and shocking event that must live on in our memories, lest it be repeated, why are many of its victims forgotten? Why are they shoved by the wayside, pressed into the footnotes of history? Are they not also worth our tears? Do they
if they're communists, not really. I mean, no, I don't think so. I think communists, socialists are utter trash. And the reason I say that is because they don't tell their social organization models truth on how it really works. And how it really works is, if you are nothing in a capitalist society, if you're poor or at the bottom of the barrel in a capitalist society, then you would either be eliminated, put in a concentration or labor camp, or starve to death in a socialist or communist society. Because if you don't serve a purpose in the collective, then what good are you?
not deserve reparations just as the Jewish victims received? Why is it we never see any mention of this? 6. Why is the Holocaust so important anyway? In terms of the total death toll, it is not the largest. In terms of brutality, it is not the worst. In terms of the amount of the targeted ethnic group eliminated, it is not the most successful. It is not the most recent genocide. It was not the first genocide. All of this is true, and yet the Holocaust is treated as a unique horror and taught and repeated.
All right, well, let me give you a little bit of a 411 on why the Holocaust was such a big deal. As I've always stated, the reason the Jews are envied is because they know what's going on. All right? They're not somebody who believes in, a one God type of religious system. I mean, the Jews know that there are many gods or deities that they can pray to or gain some kind of spiritual energy or spiritual currency from, okay? Now, what the Holocaust was, and let me just be frank, not Anne Frank, but frank with you, okay? Let me be frank. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Don't take offense to it, please. What a Holocaust was prior to this World War II situation, if you look at Webster's dictionary prior to World War II, the definition of a Holocaust was a spiritual burnt offering to a god or a deity. All right, look it up for yourself. Not even joking. And then after World War II, they called whatever happened to the Jews the Holocaust. And that's why this Holocaust situation is actually the spiritual burnt offering that has created the power that the Jews have had since that scenario happened in World War II. All right, so just a little esoteric knowledge out there that, the Jews may have, burnt themselves. I don't know, I'm just saying. I don't know. Hitler was Jewish. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. All right, the Jews that were burnt were Ashkenazi. Excuse me, let's play the rest of it.
In perpetuity. Why? What makes the Holocaust so uniquely horrifying, so uniquely evil? Was it simply that the targeted ethnic group was Jews? Are other ethnic groups not worth our tears? Why is there barely any mention of such horrifying events as the Rwandan genocide? Why are there no mentions of such atrocities as the Armenian genocide by the Turks, or the millions of whites killed by the Soviets during the Holodomor, or the countless others killed in various other Asian states?
Because they were killed out of bloodthirsty barbarianism. And the Jews kill because of spirituality. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, that's why the Holocaust is no longer referred to as a burnt offering to a deity or God. Now it's referred to as an event related to them. All right, so just saying. All right, just saying.
And in a capitalist liberal society, you get to enslave white people with a welfare state that brown people benefit from. In Hitler's Germany, there were literally less than 500 homeless people. Man put people to work simple as keep coping ghosts.
Keep coping. Hitler created the welfare state, dude. What are you talking about? Hitler created the fucking welfare state that you think that you've got me in a checkmate corner on. I mean, who do you think created the idea of paying people to have children? Fucking Hitler created that fucking idea. Who created the idea of these laws, like physical laws, as it relates to nature, which is the prelude to all this bullshit that we're seeing from the Green Movement at this point in time? Fucking Hitler. Hitler did all this fucking shit. All right, Hitler put in anti-vegetarian law, or excuse me, anti-smoking laws and was a vegetarian. All right, I mean, give me a fucking break. This guy was such a rigid fucking asshole that he wanted everybody to have his vision of the perfect person. And if you weren't it, you were either thrown in a fucking oven or you were jailed or whatever the fuck you were. I mean, this guy was a socialist scumbag. And that's why all you people that are out there that are saying, oh, my Hitler, you might as well fucking worship Mao Zedong and Stalin and Lenin, because the only difference between them and Hitler is that in communism, they give the illusion of the people having some kind of influence within the party system. You know, that's why they called Mao Chairman Mao, because he was the chairman of the Politburo that basically micromanaged the whole goddamn country. All right, I mean, that there was an appearance of that. Hitler, when it came to his National Socialism, Hitler dictated what was fucking produced. Don't get me wrong, he also gave the illusion of private enterprise by leaving most of the means of production in private hands. But it was Hitler that dictated what was produced. All right, just saying.
Throughout the past 100 or more years. Where is the course in schools about these events? Why are they not apparently worth the media's attention? And lastly, 7. If the Holocaust is so undeniably true, so thoroughly established, why is it illegal in many countries to question it at all?
Because they had a burnt offering of people that have given them the power to have people under a spell, to have them at their command, to stop you from even criticizing that event. That's what that shit was all about. Fucking wake up, man. Good God, there's a spiritual fucking war going on top of everything that you can hear, feel, and see.
Why is the supposed truth in fear of criticism? Do we ban discussion and argument over whether the earth is, in fact, round? Should it be illegal to question whether the Roman Empire ever existed?
We're getting there, all right?
Really opened my eyes. Let's go kill some kike-ass zombie motherfucker.
All right, no, we're not. All right, that's enough of that. All right, Jesus Christ. All right, that's enough of that. And what is it, Waffens?
And it benefited white people and created a baby boom before the 1940s. Hitler banned interest predatory loans, taxed the working man at only 13%, white lives matter, and ghosts capitalist tax dollars go to nation.
Well, look, I don't really... Look, this is a government made for the people and by the people, and for whatever reason, the majority of people are showing compassion towards the strife of our urban demographic, to the point now where they're, have regulated into policy and tax entitlements, etc. All right? But let me tell you something right now, all right? Hitler, if he was so fucking great, then why is it that he had to pander to the Jews when he first started doing his own takeover of his economy? You know, read up about the Jew boycott during Hitler's early times in which he was transitioning the goddamn economy of Germany into National Socialism. All right, there was a Jewish boycott, and guess what? He pandered to the Jews. He kissed their ass. He's like, look, we've got a lot of Jewish, people. Look, we've got Jewish people in our society. Look that shit up, dude. It's a fucking lie. All Hitler did was use the dumb, I hate to say this, the very naive German people who are a very one-directional, very productive people that really, all they want to do is go to work and drink their beer. They're European. He used them as a means of getting whatever it was that he wanted, which was world domination. Because Hitler was Jewish, by the way. He was not, come on, dude. I'm tired of you fucking goddamn Nazi LARPers coming out here and claiming that Heil Hitler and all this other shit. Hitler was a fucking Jewish, homosexual, failed art student. All right, that he would get up and be like, I want blonde hair, blue-eyed children. I want blue-eyed children. He'd fucking have his hair flapping in the wind and shit. And guess what? It was dark hair. He has some big fucking, I shouldn't say. He's got a nose that is unlike your German characteristic. Let's just put it that way. And he was able to fucking mesmerize and galvanize a whole fucking country of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people into believing that I'm going to die for the Fuhrer. Come on, man. Come on. How can somebody who's got Jewish features, okay, dark hair, the whole thing, how can somebody do that is that characteristic command a whole fucking group of blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people to believe that they're the greatest of all time when they got goofed by somebody who wasn't even fucking blonde hair, blue eye? This is something that just, it resonates with me because the more things change, the more they stay the same. Take a look at the Nazi LARPers now. Take a look at who they're being led by. They're being led by a fucking Mexican. Fucking Nick Fuentes, dude. The last name Fuentes is some fucking fat Mexican that serves me at a taco bar, for fuck's sake. And this is what's leading the so-called white nationalist movement out here. Some fucking Mexican incel, for heaven's sake. Jesus Christ. And guess what? Who else did the white Nazi LARPing, blonde hair, blue-eyed, superior race subcontract for their leadership? They subcontracted none other than Kanye West. Remember when Kanye West came out? And he was like, yeah, man, I hate Jews, man. Yeah, man, fucking Jew this, fucking Hitler did nothing wrong, or whatever the fuck he said, right? All of a sudden, all these Nazi LARPers started championing this guy. Even those fucking, federal informants over there at Goyim.tv, they went out and put Kanye was right over an LA overpass, and everybody was jocking Kanye. And once again, the more they change, the more they stay the same. They subcontracted the so-called, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed children. They're subcontracting their leadership to somebody who is leading them, and I don't understand. Look, if I understand if you believe that the German race is a, it's a better race in certain regards. But to be the master race and to be manipulated to the point where you can't lead yourself and you've got to go and fucking have some Mexican or some fucking black guy or some Jew to fucking lead you, I think that much like many of you white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired folks criticize the brown persuasion, whether it's Mexicans or blacks, much how you criticize them and say, hey, you need to fucking look at yourself in the mirror and you need to figure out what's going on. You all need to figure it out as well. Okay, it's same shit, because there's something rotten in Denmark when the leadership of any white nationalist movement is not fucking white. All right, the loudest people that are advocating for white nationalism are not fucking white. And every time I bring that shit up, everybody, I don't want to talk about that shit, Ghost, okay? It's good for the movement. I don't want to talk about that shit. I'm bringing it up because you need to see the contradiction here, and you need to recognize that, hey, if you're truly down for so-called white nationalism, then why don't you find a white leader? Start with that. All right, find a white leader. Fucking Nick Fuentes, for Christ's sake, man. How the hell can any white man who thinks that white is a superior race follow somebody named Fuentes, man? That sounds like somebody selling oranges on the side of the goddamn road. I mean, yeah, no shit. So President J1, like the fucking Proud Boys, the so-called white nationalist Proud Boys. Enrique Tarrio, a fucking Mexican. I don't even know if he's Puerto Rican or some shit. I mean, for fuck's sake. I'm just trying to fucking enlighten you a little bit and stop Look, many of you white Nazi LARPers, you're like the cuck that's behind a lampshade while some fucking black dude is plowing your fucking chick, and you're sitting there saying, no, it's not cheating because I'm okay with it and I'm getting off on it, and here, I'm waxing my carrot while they're doing... I mean, that's how you guys are. And every time I bring it up, you all just want to fucking go out and pretend that it ain't happening. All right? So I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Anyway, sorry about that. I had to fucking, just tell it how it is here. All right? Just had to lay it to smack it down on some of these Nazi LARPers and telling them how it is. All right? And, by the way, none of you Nazi LARPers are, you don't even, like, promote cool white... Buy that for $1. You don't even promote, like, cool white guys, man. Like, you don't even know, like, what it is to be, like, okay, I'm a white male. What am I supposed to act like? What are chicks like? What do I need to act like? You don't even promote that shit. You hate on it. You hate on white chads and shit. I mean, the white guys that are getting laid, most of you Nazi LARPers call homosexuals, for fuck's sake. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's just go ahead. JSav, Ghost isn't a casual racist. He's a professional. I'm not a racist, dude. All right, I'm just trying to, get everybody to think on a rational scale and not be inflamed of the senses. You know what I'm saying?